Welcome to Just Wanna Quilt, a research podcast coming out of Tulane University Law School, where we explore all kinds of things, stories about quilting, tools, field trips, maybe some famous quilters stop by, and of course a little bit of copyright thrown in just for fun. I'm Elizabeth Townsend Guard, your host. I'm a law professor at Tulane University Law School. I also hold two fellowships right now, one at the Business School and one at the Newcomb Institute at Tulane. And I just want to quilt. So today we're talking to Rachna Chandra, who has Taj Cottage, a clothing store where she also designs the clothing. And she has put her amazing energy into making masks. She's got a huge volunteer team, and she's remarkable. And of course, Haley Barnett joins us again, my 3L law student, who has been spectacular in all things related to homemade masks. Well, thank you for joining me and Haley. Haley is my law student who reached out to you.
Hi.
She's joining us as well.
Hi, Haley.
And I'm so excited. Cool. Well, we're going to start with something super simple, which is tell me your name and where you're calling from.
My name is Rachna Chandra, and we are located in Michigan.
Awesome. And you, we also asked one question, which is, I'm sorry, I was just getting your info up, so I make sure I had it. Tell me your first memory of someone sewing or quilting in your life.
My mom, my aunt, everybody in the household. We lived in a joint family, even my grandma. But most of us, my inspiration was my mom.
Yeah? And what kind of sewing did she do? Or does she do?
She does any kind of sewing, but she used to mostly mend and alter. And then she started sewing for us.
And tell us what us is. Tell us what your business before. We're trying to do a little bit of before the virus, and then we'll get into sort of what you're doing now. So to give us a context of what your life was like in like February, right? Like, or January, or whenever sort of things were normal for you, right?
Well, starting from my childhood, it was my school and my teacher. We used to learn as a subject. Sewing was a subject for us in high school even. So, and I had this passion of doing it. So that's how I got involved. And at the home atmosphere, of course, my grandparents and my mom was sewing. I used to sew my own clothes and design, and for my sisters also, for my sibling. And moving forward, migrated here, wedded, got married and all that. And I always wanted to be a fashion designer. So I started my own business and my own line in 2005.
And that is?
Taj Cottage.
Taj Cottage. And for those listening, if you want to go take a look at it, it's TAJ and then cottage, COTTAGE.com.
Yeah,
right?
That's my website. Yep.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And tell me what it was like before. Right now it's got like hats and buttons and masks and all kinds of stuff. But tell us what happened. What was it like before that?
Well, being a fashion designer and being in the industry, everything with me is bling, colors, fashion. Everything is very exciting. A lot of my fashion shows are being on hold right now. We also had a pageant plan, a beauty pageant by the name of Ambassador Pageantry. That is also on hold as of now. And before, in February or January, if you ask, we were getting ready to host international fashion designers from India.
Really? And so I'm looking at your website, and they're insanely beautiful work. These are just amazingly beautiful. Is your clientele mostly from India, and are they from here or all over the world? Or tell us sort of a little bit about the business.
My clientele is mostly local. I do have some Midwest clientele which shop over FaceTime or drive to me, like from Ohio and all. The 3 hours drive, Chicago, people drive to me. Amazing. So I design them. I custom design most of my stuff. So they like kind of that feeling of a personal touch.
Yeah.
And talking about clienteles, no, it's not only Indians.
No, it doesn't look like. You've got everything. You've got amazing. Yeah. Okay,
I have all kind of clienteles.
Yes.
I mean, Chaldean, a lot of these people, Chaldean people, they wear Indian outfits in their henna parties.
Interesting. And really cute dresses. I'm like, I so want to buy some of these things. Take a look. It's really cute. And variety of expensive, like nice, beautiful dresses, regular dress, all kinds of stuff. Okay, so you're doing your business. You've been doing it for about 10 to 15 years. And then what happens?
Then I got this opportunity in 2013, if I remember, to spearhead the industrial sewing program at our local Henry Ford Community College. So I kind of jumped over that literally because it's related to me and my field and all that. So did that, and about 3.5, 4 years I did that.
And what does that mean exactly? You were teaching at the community college level, and you were doing industrial sewing techniques and design and all of that? Is that right?
Yeah, we were training workforce to get ready to be in the corporate world, in the sewing world.
That's so cool.
So being Detroit as the auto hub, you know how it is here.
Yeah.
It's like, it's a must. Prototyping is done here.
Right.
So it's a must for Detroiters to learn how to sew.
That is really cool. I love it. That must have been very rewarding, I imagine. Very cool. Okay, so that's all going. Your business is good. And now suddenly you are way involved with the mask making and all kinds of things. So tell me what happened and how did that happen and what's going on? Because you've had a lot of, there's been a lot of attention of what you're doing. And so I'm curious sort of tell us the story so we can record it for history.
Mm-hmm. Well, after the lockdown, I think it was March 14th in Michigan.
Yeah.
So after the lockdown, like 2 days, I watched TV, I watched a movie. That is not me typically. And I'm like, you know what? This is a waste. This is a total waste of my time, my life. And I can do something better than this. So,
totally.
I used to walk 2 hours a day, but how much can you walk, man? Come on, no.
Yeah, totally.
So I'm like, okay, I need to be happy. I need to be doing something more productive. So let me get my sewing machine out, which has been sitting for years together. Didn't have time to do this. And since the need was of PPE, the mask.
Right.
So I just made a couple of them.
Right about that time, we were also starting and it hadn't gotten going. So a lot of people were very, like people were starting to ask, is that what you were feeling? Like people were asking, but it wasn't like it is now. It was still kind of small and weird.
At that point, nobody was asking me because that is not my business. So,
right.
It was, So, but when I made a couple of them for my family, and it was just a couple of pictures I posted on social media, and that was it. Next hour, next day, I had to grab a notebook, start writing orders, start writing stuff. It just went viral after that.
That's amazing.
I couldn't control it and I couldn't sew that many by myself. So I asked my seamstress to help me. I have a local seamstress, and of course, she's so sweet and kind, and she helped me with all that. And it kept on growing from there. I started posting stuff, need of volunteers, and as of today, I have more than 35 volunteers.
It's remarkable.
Wow.
That's remarkable.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. And you said they're like from as young as 9 to as old as 80, that everybody's pitching in. Did they have sewing? Did they know how to sew when they started, or did you have to teach them?
I didn't have time to teach them. I didn't have time for a sewing 101.
Yeah.
A lot of people still want to sew. Some people have borrowed my daughter's sewing machine as well and all that. But I wish I had time to teach them.
So they knew how to sew when they got to you, and then they volunteered.
They knew, and then I showed them little bit tricks here and there, made videos and how to sew this kind of mask or that kind of mask, so that helped, of course. Yeah.
Awesome. And so tell me what kind of masks you're using, and then I want to go through some of the places that you've been helping as well.
Sure. We have 3 kind of masks. One is more of a contour shape, and all our masks are washable, regardless of print or what kind it is.
Yeah.
The contour one is called Covenant mask. It has 2 layers of cotton and 1 layer of water-resistant interfacing, which I did a little bit of research as the mission was going a little more progressing. So the the polypropylene I have used, which is quite good and comparable to the one they use in N95.
Yeah, and is that the somebody else has talked to us about that, right? Haley, can you help me out on this side of it?
Yes. Yes, we had talked to Carhartt about their use of DWR fabric, which is the durable water resistant. And I actually just was doing some research on it a couple minutes ago. The DWR fabric is actually a coating. It's not a fabric. It's like an after coat that you either spray on or you wash in.
Yeah.
And it does deteriorate after each wash. So you do have to reapply it as needed, but it helps the moisture just bead down.
Yeah, how is that
from
different?
The fabric instead of soaking in?
Got it. How is that different than polypropylene?
Propylene.
Yeah, tell me what that is.
Yeah, what's the difference?
I don't know about DW. What you're telling me.
You don't know that one.
Spray. I do not know about that.
Okay.
It might be a spray. I'm not aware of that name.
Yeah. Okay.
But what research I did was that what they use in N95 is a non-woven, not a non-woven, a polypropylene. But of course, it's medical grade and tested and all that. Yeah. So what we can buy as a small business or as a sewer at home is bulk of polypropylene.
Interesting.
And it is
so
a non-woven.
Still available.
That's very interesting. And you must have bought a lot. Did you buy it? So tell me a little bit more. Do you have 2 layers of cotton and then the polypropylene in between? And
yeah.
Mm-hmm. And is it so it's washable, the polypropylene?
It's washable.
Fabulous. We've been doing so much research on that. Well, when we get done, I'd like to chat more about that, so that Haley can reach out to that. And is it kind of like just it's like a non-woven interface kind of thing? Is it thin?
It's thin. It comes in different weights and all that. So it's hard to buy supplies nowadays.
Yeah, I know.
So yeah, we have been using whatever is available. Even yesterday night, I was hunting for some more polypropylene. I'm running out of my 500 yards roll.
So, amazing, right?
Oh no.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
I looked at it this morning. I'm like, where did this go? How much did we use?
Right.
It's like crazy.
Right. It is crazy. It's so crazy. I was trying to figure out how much fabric. We've purchased fabric. We've donated fabric. I think we're at like 3 or probably close to 400 yards of fabric has gone out of this house in like...
I know, right? Yeah.
Right? Is that crazy? That's craziness,
Same with me. Today somebody pinged me on Facebook and say that, I don't know about you guys, but if you know the Michigan, the Suburban Collection Show place has been converted to the overflow of hospital.
Okay.
Which is like a mile away from my house.
Okay.
So they have a hotel next door, and Hyatt has donated. Somebody pinged me this morning and said, hey, I have these bags full of bed sheets from Hyatt.
How interesting.
Yeah, because the healthcare workers who are taking care of the overflow facility are staying in that Hyatt. And whatever reason they don't want those sheets, they're like 2 bags full of sheets. He sent me a picture. He's like, can I have your address, please? I'm going to give this to you.
That's really remarkable. That's amazing.
Yeah.
That was something that we should be thinking about and asking Haley and putting that out, because asking for donations from the hotels may be really interesting on bed sheets that they're not using or that are soiled or that we could cut around, or that would be really interesting to think about.
Some people have even will be interested in donating the new ones also. One of my friends, she owns a motel, and when I was doing the USNS Comfort Navy ship project, she donated me new bed sheet from her motel.
That's amazing. Because one bed sheet goes a really long way, right? Yeah. Like it's they don't have to donate very much. We should think about that, Haley. That's, I think, a really interesting, even just sort of experience. Sort of, we're all about. This is comes out of Tulane University, so we're all about experiencing things. So it's we're more of an experiment than anything else. So I think that's super cool. All right, so
even the at home, if you want to call the home people too, a friend of mine, a known person, not a friend, but she dropped off 2 new king size flat bed sheets.
That's amazing. That's really great. That's such
people
a great idea.
have it in their closet. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Totally. That's really great. I love it. And and I think about like kids' bed sheets and other things. We're trying to do very happy masks. Okay. I'm going to go through a list of places that I think what's interesting about you is that you are very sort of it is kind of what's happening. Your story is such a great story to capture, right? You already were in sort of, you knew how to, like your business, you pivoted, you're helping the community, and you're sort of getting to very, like the places that we're seeing and that we're doing is very similar to what you're doing. And I think it captures the story of what's happening. Yours is a little more dramatic because you guys have done, it's kind of remarkable what you've done. But you said we've sewn and delivered probably more, said almost 3,000 masks. I suspect you've gotten more since you signed up. Is that right? Like
yes, I just spoke to my husband before I dialed in, and because he's my accountant taking care of everything. So I'm like, where are we? What's the number? He's like, I told you yesterday, it's 3,300.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, yeah, 3,300. And I just donated 100 more this morning, so that puts at about 34.
Okay, so right, so correctional facilities, hospitals, nursing homes, penitentiary, first responders, compassionate care place, lifestyle center, veterans, food companies on the front line, and the U.S. Navy ship, the Comfort ship. Also, where else? Soldiers deployed in Afghanistan, children's hospitals, high school volunteers that distributing food, county sheriff. The list is never ending. This is a list. I mean, your list is dramatic and amazing, but I think we all are experiencing this. So tell me a little bit more about how people are getting to you and the stories that you're seeing and how much people are at. Just tell me more about that part of it.
Well, people reach out to me most of the time, and I belong to some big Facebook groups which are in Mask Mission, which is like COVID Crafter.
Yeah.
One is Mask Warrior, Million Mask a Day. You know, there is like different groups out there. Yeah, all those, right?
All right. So Mask. Did you get those down? Mask Warrior. Is that what you?
Yes.
Yeah, Mask Warrior, COVID Crafter.
COVID Crafter. Cool. Can you reach out to those groups for me, Haley?
Yes.
All right. Yeah.
So
awesome.
They have reached out to me. Can you hold on a second? My bed sheet
Sure.
donation is here, I think. Just a second. So how people are reaching out to me is through these groups, first of all. And second, I think it has become viral now.
Yeah.
And I'm a little more active on social media as well. So that spreads the word. And my supporters, of course.
Yeah.
My fundraiser has almost $9,500 in it. So, you know, that explains.
How are you fundraising? On what mechanism?
I just started as a personal fundraiser on my personal page.
Yeah.
And never thought of it that it will be going somewhere where it's, you know, hard to manage. But it doesn't matter. People have pitched in $25 to $500. So it's like, you know, $9,500 I have right now, which
amazing.
Is awesome. Yeah.
Because then that you can buy more supplies and be able to, I mean, it gets expensive.
Yeah.
So that's just because it's.
Because I don't have any like big organization or any sponsorship or anything supporting me here.
Yeah.
It's just all these funds.
Amazing, so amazing. Tell us a little bit about getting involved with the Comfort Navy ship. Tell us a little bit more about that project. Being
in the fashion industry and doing all these shows and teaching at Henry Ford College and all that, I have these list of people I'm connected with. Mm-hmm. One of them were Detroit Sewn. That's a factory in Pontiac. They are making on their level thousands and thousands of them, the masks.
Yeah.
And they started next door with Glamorous Mom Foundation, a mask donation center. So Shannon, again, my known person, has posted one day through Mask Donation Center that, hey, you know, we need 500 masks for USNS Comfort. And I'm like, yeah, Shannon, sure, I can help you with that. So that's all it started. And she asked only 500, but I gave her 810.
Wow, that's amazing. And I've learned about the Audible. I've been listening to books on tape, which actually really does help make the time go faster. But tell me about, like, how are your volunteers? How often are they working? Like, how are you able to get so many masks done? And sort of what's your sort of strategy on that?
Strategy is pretty simple. The more people you have to sew, it's a matter of managing them, basically.
Yeah.
So my husband does the driving around once every day or every other day, depending, and pick up at the porch at everybody's house. So porch pickup. I have a WhatsApp group where all these volunteers are listed. I post every day before 2 hours before he runs out of the door. Hey, please let me know what you need, how much you have to give. So a bag is picked up and a bag is dropped off. Supplies is
Amazing.
dropped off. So that.
And are you giving them all of the supplies
Yes.
to make that? Awesome. And then are they also making are they only making for your cause, or can they if they find people that need it? How centralized or decentralized is the giving with your work?
I don't mind. They can sew for anybody else too. A lot of volunteers have asked me that, hey, this friend of mine has a nursing home. She needs 25. Can I give 25 I have sewn out of your lot? Yeah, sure. Go ahead. They are all for donations anyway. So
yeah, interesting.
Yeah.
Amazing.
I have given my volunteers needles, even machine oil.
Yeah.
I've given them everything.
Everything, yes.
Yeah.
So interesting, isn't it? And then you got picked up by the news. So you've been on a number of interviews. Tell me about that side of it. Tell me about we found you, but tell us about others.
Others found the same way too. And again, being in business for 15 years in the fashion industry, my business and my profile has been in limelight for various reasons, for my shows and my fundraisers and all that. So, and I was ready to do the ultimate wedding show for Channel 7. It was already planned. Everything, photo shoot was done. And
oh my goodness.
Now everything is like postponed, right? So,
right.
Yeah. So these guys from the wedding show kind of helped me. Rick Young Insurance Company is running a fundraiser as well on side for me for the e-signature. If you must have seen on my profile.
Mm-hmm.
So every signature gives us $1.
Amazing. And then tell me about selling them. How do you feel about, so we have a lot of conversations about donations versus selling. And I'm okay with both because it seems like it's a duality now. Tell me about, so you're selling them on your website, is that right?
They are, I won't call it selling. What I'm asking is individuals for personal orders that please donate this amount per mask to me for my materials. So I can do 100% donations to hospitals and first responders.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. And it offsets the cost in a really nice way. And it gets hard. There's just a lot. Now, I'm going to ask you about the masks. So there's 3 kinds: mask with filter, mask without pocket, which are the surgical masks, and then the Covenant face mask. Tell me about each of the styles and what you think. If someone's on your website or they're trying to understand which one to choose, how do you choose which one to get?
The Covenant one has a more counter shape to it. That's the only difference. It's similar as to the 3-pleated one, which I think there is like a picture with the tie on it, a green picture.
Yeah.
Green mask. Yeah. So they both are same. It's just a shape difference. And Covenant has elastic. We didn't find elastic, so we made it into ties.
Right, we do ties too. We do ties too. How are you making the ties? Are you like serging them? Are you like, ties take the longest time? That's the longest part, right?
Yeah.
It's the worst.
It's killing.
It's killing you. Me too.
Killing.
It's true.
But I am lucky enough to have a lady. I call her my manual CNC machine.
Oh.
She cuts so fast, man. Oh my God.
She on the ties, on making ties.
No, she cuts it. She like cutting itself is a process.
Yes.
Yeah. So she cuts hundreds of ties in 15 minutes.
Oh my gosh, I need one of those.
Yes, I know.
That's amazing. What size are you doing with your ties? What size? And are you doing it so you fold it in and fold it again? Is that what you're, us too.
And my ties are not bias. They are straight cut.
Me
so
too.
That's
me too. Yeah.
I don't know why would you use bias.
I have no idea. And I also, it's the width of the fabric. So are they long like that? Are you doing the full length?
They are 2 inches wide and
2 inches.
30 to 36 inches long.
Interesting. Then that's interesting. They look great. They look amazing. Yeah, I'm doing the masks the same way. And now does it have? But yours has polypropylene in all of them. Yeah, that's really.
And then I have the third style, which is the one with the pocket, where it doesn't have the third layer.
It doesn't have the third layer. It just has a pocket so you can put stuff in.
Somebody can just put their own filter in it, or do you provide filters?
Interesting. And are they Are they all priced about the same? The
Yeah.
donation?
Yep. The
Interesting.
one with the pocket has a nose wire too.
It does. How are you putting the nose wire in? That nose wire, oh my gosh. I'm not happy with the whole nose wire thing.
Yeah, me too.
It's just annoying. Are you putting it in, at what stage do you put the nose wire in?
That's, I would say, almost like the second or third step. I join the two smaller sides together and then put a nose wire in.
And then put the nose wire in. And you do a casing with it, or you just sew around it?
No, I just
Sew
put
around it.
not a separate casing, but I just put it like inside the hem.
Yeah, yeah. We
And
got these
I
weird.
used
have
the
you seen-
one from Home Depot, the green color, which we use in plants.
Yeah. And it
Twisty
washes okay?
tighten.
That stuff washes okay?
Yeah, yeah.
And we got from Hillary. Do you know these things?
I got those too, but they're too hard for me.
They're too hard, right? They're too, for me, I haven't tried them yet. They scare me a little bit because I think I'm going to run over them with my needle, but I have to try it, you know.
Yeah, I
And
have
they
the same one. Somebody donated hundreds to me.
Yeah. So interesting. Well, I haven't been brave enough to put the wire in, so.
I was trying this one on the other day on my Covenant mask, but that has the shape to it. It didn't work.
It didn't
It's
work.
not flat.
Interesting. Huh. Very interesting. And are you, on the Covenant mask, are you cutting those out for people to then sew them? Or are you giving them a pattern? Like, how are you making those?
My swords get cut pieces.
They get cut
My
pieces.
cutting team is different,
Yeah.
and my sewing team is different.
Yeah. That makes
So
sense.
it moves faster. It's more like a assembly line production
Yes,
kind of
we have
thing.
that.
Yeah.
It's just
Yeah.
me. I'm like, I give, I'm like, I will put on my ironing hat now, but there's lots of pieces, so I'm my own little. I think that's true of lots of us out there that don't have a full team. Awesome. Well, this is so insanely great. Do you think? I know we can't really predict what's happening, but what's your sense of how long do you think we're going to be making masks?
I think 2020 for sure.
You think we're just going to continue to do it?
Yeah.
Huh.
I don't know where this feeling comes from, but I have been telling people from the beginning, from day one, everybody need to wear a mask.
Yeah.
And in Michigan yesterday, the governor said that it was an executive order. If you're in enclosed spaces with public, you need to have a face covering.
Yeah.
So it's a must.
Interesting. And then do you think that how many should people have? I've been wearing one and trying to wash it to see how long it takes for it to break down, like every day, like trying to see, sort of use it, wash it, use it, wash it. But it seems like people need at least two, because you need one that you're washing and one that you're wearing. But
it depends how much you're going out, I would
That's
say.
true. We
How
haven't
much
gone
how
out.
much are you in public? Yeah. My husband goes out every day for the delivery and pickup job, right? So he
Yeah.
washes his every day. So
Yeah.
it has lasted pretty long.
yeah, I'm kind of amazed. I'm kind of impressed. I don't sew clothing or make anything practical, and so far so good. So, it's like, it makes me
I mean, I never thought in life that I would be sewing this much at a stretch
Yes.
and doing this.
It's remarkable, isn't it?
I
Well-
like to air dry my masks because I just feel like you get more life out of them. They're just gentler on them than the dryer.
Yeah.
But that's just me.
Interesting.
I hang dry them.
Interesting. Very
So
interesting.
yeah, if you hand dry them, then you need more than two by the time they dry.
That's true. That's very true.
Yeah.
Oh, goodness. Well, I adore you. I just think this is so cool. I think it's amazing. And look what you're doing. And there's many of us out there doing this. And I just think your story is so great. And I can't wait to see what your numbers. Will you come back with us in some time and keep us updated on what you're doing? Because it's really remarkable.
Sure, yeah. I
Yeah.
think it will be easier for you guys to be in touch with me because
Yeah.
I have so much on my plate right now.
Yeah, no, I understand. I think we are at 1:30. Thank you so much for coming. You're okay with us posting this?
Yeah, that's fine.
Awesome.
Yeah.
We will send you a link. And it's amazing. You're amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Yep.
All right. Have a great day.
Take
Take
care.
care.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
So you've been listening to Just Wanna Quilt, a research podcast coming out of Tulane University Law School. And I'm Elizabeth Townsend Gard. If you like this podcast, keep listening. Also, we have a Facebook group. Come join us. We talk about a lot of things. We also have an Instagram account. And of course, most importantly, I really hope you get a chance to quilt today.